Hi everyone, this is Sunny. Welcome back to my channel. And I have the second part after I finally took a little break. So if you have Saturn in Aquarius or Saturn in the 11th house, you still have Saturn in its domicile placement, as Aquarius is co-ruled by Uranus and Saturn. You could share some of the issues as the 10th house, but that's not for everyone. You're more than welcome to hear that interpretation as well as this one. Saturn lends itself at its best impact to have strong work ethic when it comes to trying to reach a goal within a hierarchy, and the house opens itself to groups and organizations that are working to having a common goal, just not in a way where you can lack flexibility on how each individual wishes to cooperate, including yourself. At its worst, it can lead to you being the person who has to show power imbalance in your niche or community with the same goals, and that can lead to conflict and even more alienation. That's what Capricorn and Aquarius can give at its best. Growing up, you could have easily had no issue befriending people at this house, as this house pertains to friends, because you could have noticed that over the years there was an unspoken thing that separated you and your peers slowly and randomly quickly, as is Uranus with sudden fluctuations of events. You and your peers could have not seen each other eye to eye, or had very different ideals or interests that you drifted apart. Maybe you didn't hate each other, but you just didn't find enough reasons to talk to each other or keep the friendship going. So you distanced each other or just stopped talking completely. Maybe you could have liked very particular specific things that were odd to others within your surroundings that didn't seem normal, like collecting items like cards or rocks. Maybe you enjoyed wacky fashion, or like listening to old music like the Beach Boys or the Bee Gees, things that weren't so easily liked by kids or teenagers. Your age. They purposely alienated you because they couldn't see beyond their own standards, so they picked on you or cast you aside, not really being able to have close contact with anyone. For some, this lack of comprehension from society could have led you to feel long bouts of depression that you learned to detach from your emotions to persevere in this world. Persevere. I think I said it wrong. Persevere. There you go. Saturn would have likely delayed any true friendships that made you feel comfortable within your own skin, or the ability to reach out to outsiders like yourself in the early environment. A possible challenge in your return could be whether you could stay true to who you are and make connections, or become part of a community that accepts your individuality. If you allow yourself to show self-expression, not restrict it within. Otherwise, you'd suffer the same alienation you've been feeling for a long time. Stopping yourself from following norms and structure would have been beneficial for those who deal with this type of issue. The 11th house also rules over tech spaces, so you reaching out to forums and online support groups, or anyone who occupies the online space. My nose is getting messy. Could help you feel like you're part of the big picture. Although it is important to note that aside from making online friends, you could also meet shady people who impose their authority on you and take advantage of you and your good intentions. There's always two sides to the coin, and using your own discretion to discern who really wants to stick around and be part of your life is up to you to figure out. You could have also grown up without a specific parental or paternal guide, or you were taken care of by the community members, people close to your family, extended family members, maybe nannies too. Basically, it took a whole village to raise you. Many people stepped up to take turns and care for your needs growing up. It didn't feel like you could have had much alone time. So as you age, you seek more alone time and solitude where did I stay off? Alone time to really just think, or you just enjoy that type of environment. You yourself try to stick to similar guidelines, and you get into a community who helps one another almost like a bartering unit, where if I do this for you, you do this for me in return. Never truly feeling like you were on your own doing all the work when you knew the work was going to be divided amongst your friends and community. The communal lifestyle seems to be very tempting to live in, so be wary of the communal lifestyles that can draw you in and have authority over your body, mind, assets, and finances. I'm not saying that you'll likely be in a cold-like environment, but this fascination is always there, or the aversion to that type of community can be strong, as Uranus enjoys rebelling against societal norms, and this can take form in either way. It's interesting how you can crave structure, but you want your own form of structure separate from what was taught or given to you. It feels very much like how you learn the rules in math and writings, only so you can break them, and you get noticed by the same people who do the same as you. I would also like to add that when it comes to technology, you could have had a strong inclination to it, but you could have not had a chance to work with computers or not had the access to phones until you that or if you did, it was likely due to do homework or research, not so much for relaxation or fun. It was treated more for work purposes. That could also change later down the road as Saturn lightens up over time. If you did have access to technology early on, like using the iPad or drawing a pad, for example, you were really good at managing what you could do with the apps or tricks or shortcuts to programs and websites, for example. Navigating technology can be easy, or it can become easy with the dedication and practice you give to it compared to others. Many fields aside from computer use can be included here, like the people who work in robotics or people who work with the space engineering, for example. Society could have been there. Why am I messing up again? Society could be the one to have authority over you. Rules and regulations were harsh and hard to follow for you, and during the transit you could learn to leave all that you knew behind and start fresh and create your own safe haven for others to feel safe as well. I make it sound easy, but it's not. Uranus will likely make all this happen in a blink of an eye. So when you least expect it, you can cut cords and just take continuous action until you feel like you have complete control over situations. You could also have very philanthropic ideals that could lead you to organizations to help those who don't have a voice or that need for more advocating towards. There are many fields, but for some examples, having the proper rights for those marginalized groups like animal rights, human rights, reproductive rights, political rights, environmental activism, etc. Your humanitarian nature could run deep because you don't wish to have others be treated the way you once were or ignored. The idea that others who don't have the voice to advocate for themselves or aren't heard enough or ignored bothers you. So you take it upon yourself to want to support your community because his support was not given to you easily. Your father figure could have also been someone who was very involved with the community or in helping others. Maybe traveling for work frequently, doing odd jobs to pay bills and providing for the family, something that maybe you could have picked up by not sticking to a single stable job and doing a bit of everything, or suddenly switching careers fast because it felt restrictive and boring to your creativity, and wanting to be in different environments where you feel unfamiliar and comfortable with the unknown. Exploring new cultures, work, environment, and people stimulates the mind. If you have positive aspects, you could respect the unorthodox ways your father earned his income, regardless of what he did. If not well aspected, it could clash with your perception of how the father role should have been in your life. It feels very much like you're the person who equally critiques the father's shortcomings. So you rebel by not conforming to what you were seeing, but still end up thriving in the instability you create by providing for yourself through whatever means necessary. Maybe you could relate to Aries, where you thrive in chaos, the random sudden changes that force you to step up and grow and take accountability for your persona. But it's very likely that you get sudden changes or luck, and you receive money when you least expect it by others, maybe by family members or friends, or through forgotten investments. This also sounds like I'm explaining part of the 8th house, but not quite, as you don't owe it to anyone. This is the house where Others owe it to you, like an IOU later on. Health issues that arise are very similar in nature as those in the 10th house, but aside from the 10th house, aside from the teeth and bones and sometimes skin, you could deal with is your nervous system. The transmission of signals between your one neuron to another can be faulty, so it can affect the function of any part technically, since the whole body has nerves, like your sensory nerves, for example, that can cause your pain or the lack thereof. You can deal with the parasympathetic and sympathetic system, which is the rest and digest. Unsympathetic is fight or flight. Issues to deal with nerve damage, like swallowing or breathing weird, are some simple examples of the many possibilities this entails. Chronically dealing with how not to be so on edge, to ease the nerve function or getting to the root of what really is making your nerves act up, like it stems from an outside source like triggering stress or internal stress, and how to address it properly. You could also have a weak ankles or chronic injuries to the ankles and calves, as this is a body part it rules over, and the healing process could be unexpectedly fast or incredibly slow, depending on what else is affecting this placement. Your Saturn return will have you commit to the sudden changes that needed to occur to ease your life path into a path, that is more authentic to yourself. You need to build structure and avenues that help the community through connections and organizations, while at the same time isolating yourself from unnecessary people and friends who don't serve your best interest. This transit will allow you to figure out how to work for the greater good of humanity and help those who are in need of your assistance. And that's what I have for you guys. So I hope you guys enjoyed that, and I thank you very much. So bye-bye.